Welcome to Millennium TV, Bridging the Community Worldwide. This is Nazrul Haq welcoming all of you to our show today, Community Affairs. We, at the Community Affairs Show, we have a very exciting show today, and part of the community we like to talk about as a Muslim community today. As a Muslim community, we have a million people, more than a million people live in New York City. In worldwide, nationwide, we have a huge impact. We have a lot of all the Muslim people living in New York City, mostly middle class professional people. We're playing a major role in the community, economic wise. Our children are raising very good manner. We have a very, very good impact on the community. As you see, in the recent years, somehow our Muslim community having a lot of issue. As a community-wise, we are kind of under attack. There's clearly Muslim phobia going on around. Our children are afraid to go to school. Our women are not free to walk in the street. Same time, our leadership are failing. There's a lot of Islamic organization, Islamic center, and all the Islamic leaders they're not doing the right thing, or they may be doing the right thing. We want to talk about all this. We heard this week New York City coming a biggest Islamic event. It's called Islamic Parade. We want to talk about all this issue to share this thought with you. I have a very exciting guest here present. I want to introduce you this time, Mr. Aldo Perez, brother Aldo Perez Abdul Rahim. He's the president of New York Political Coalition. He's a converted Muslim for 20 years, and he's very active in New York politics. Please welcome to the show.
Thank you, brother. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Salam. I'd like to start our conversation with the first question to Brother Perez. What is your feeling, brother, as a converted Muslim, as an American, and also, by the way, as a Puerto Rican American Muslim? And how is your experience, and what is your feelings as a being converted Muslim? If you can share with us.
Well, first and foremost, I'd just like to say, Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu wa ala ali Muhammadin wa sahbihi ajma'in. All praises be to Allah. I send peace and blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his family and his companions. My conversion to Islam, my accepting Islam, was very clear due to my personal relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, with God. That was my personal. I was a person that was raised by a very strict Catholic family. So, to me, I found it that the best way to be closer to God, to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is to practice Islam.
What is your turning point? What makes you that influence? Is anything you want to share? You don't have to tell me like any significant happening that you really make this decision. I mean, if you really want to share it, I mean, I don't know.
I'll share it very briefly. My significant point where I accepted Islam was because of theological aspects, meaning the teachings of Islam, meaning the words of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran. This is what gravitated to me. It wasn't a terminology that was actually something that was taught to me, like Christianity is something that's, the Quran speaks very, your parents were the ones who makes you Christians and Jews, but you were born Muslim. You were born not a Muslim, you're born in a state of fitra, which is pure. But, that's what gravitated to me, is the beauty of what Islam presented itself to me when I went as a Muslim. How it explained everything as simple as from washing my hands to how I deal with someone personally on a business matter. It has every answer. So with the different aspects of Christianity, many answers weren't given to me. And with Islam, they're all given to me.
Good. That's very good to know. I mean, I really find very interesting to hear from you. That is very excited. Although these days we know a lot of people have a labeling Muslim or Islam as a religious violence, and you coming out from this personal experience where you can get a solution here, that's really, really educated me today. Let's get to the point over here. I want to ask you a direct point that we really want to sit down here and talk about it. What do you think about American Muslim, and mostly maybe leadership wise? Is there like afraid or they are fail in the sense of to show their rule as a true American citizen or to be a patriotic? Is it like some people is blaming? They're like not somehow we don't see there enough participation. Is it they afraid to go out and do what to do, or they just failing to do it? You understand my point?
I understand your point. And my point, and I would be very, you said the word American Muslim. I say the word Muslim American. And the reason why...
What is the difference? I want to know.
I will tell you the reason. A Muslim American, okay, is as much more patriotic as an American Muslim. And I say this because a person who practices Islam does not think about violence. A person who practices Islam and goes faithfully and raises his children, which we say here, 95% of Muslims who actually live here in the United States go to New York City public school systems. Their children go to New York City public school systems. We have teachers, we have educators, we have doctors, we have lawyers in every field, and coming from every aspect of nationality and ethnicity. Nowadays, we cannot just say that Islam is just an Arab faith. It never was.
So what are you going to tell to these people who just leveling themselves as a part of a Muslim, or they're using the Allahu Akbar as far as we've seen sometime in the video, and they're trying to identify as a Muslim and they're involved in act of violence?
Well,
how are you going to define
anybody
them?
who acts in an act of violence, okay, in an act of violence, okay, is in a great state of kufar.
Yes.
Kufr, disbelief in Islam. If you hurt or kill someone, you should be tried, and if you're found guilty, punishable by the laws of the United States of America as a Muslim. Even if you're here in this country, and if you migrated to this country, you have to respect the laws. If you came to this country, and if you were born in this country, you still have to respect the laws. But as a Muslim, I say, a Muslim who practices faith doesn't worry about the laws because his deen, his faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to respect all laws of man.
So what do you think is there happening? What is the failure? We've seen it recently. Few incidents happened. There's this violent person produced by a pocket of our own community. Is anyhow the Muslim community responsible for that? You know, there's some conservative people out there, the Republican people. They're saying that there's a Muslim community harboring them. There's a Muslim pocket over there that producing them. And Muslim. But what I'm just saying, I don't see enough response from the Muslim leadership and Muslim Imam coming against that and saying that we have no connection with such people who are doing acts of violence. We don't hear enough, or do you hear enough? And if it's not, what is the reason?
Okay, my personal opinion, and I'm going to give you my personal opinions. There is not one masjid here in the United States that actually has been charged with anything doing any wrong. No masjid has been actually charged with doing any wrongdoing or supporting it.
Yes.
Okay, that's a fact. But what we have is isolated incidents. I'm talking about individuals who are breaking the law, who are criminally, not only breaking the law of this country and breaking the laws federally and statewide country, but they're also breaking the laws of Islam by committing heinous acts. These people are not in any way representing Islam, nor do they represent the example of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, nor do they represent the ummas of this community. What we do have is we don't have enough imams that are actually coming out and plainly explaining to the communities that they are not a part of it. And the reasons why we have that is because there's language barriers. There's also, we have imams that do not want to be isolated in those situations. We also have imams that are actually just working within their own communities and advising their communities to stay away if they hear someone talking.
But what you're just saying, I understand that, but you know that because of what you're just saying, because of that's what happening, some people, again I will say Republican conservative people, leveling the Muslim community as a silence. And they're taking this as a guy like Sean Hannity and others, they clearly said that. They're taking and blaming the Muslim community, even our congressman from Long Island, what's his name? King, something King. He's completely blaming the mosques and the Muslim communities for being as a silence. He even wrote a book about it. And I don't know. Last year,
I'm going to be very blunt. I'm going to be very blunt with you. There's many Muslims that speak out against it. But let's be honest, and I'm going to be very plain. How many true Muslims have Fox News really put on TV? How many has CNN put on TV? You have here in this country, you have Imam Umar, you have Imam Umar Sarabor, you have Imam Siraj Wahaj, you have even a sister who's an international peace organizer, Sister Daisy Khan from Women's Islamic Initiative on Spirituality and Equality. You got a sister that works in Imam Bukadoon, you know her personally. You have Linda Sassor, you have so many sisters and brothers that are actually coming on to speak, but are they actually getting the time to speak out? No, they're not. And the reason they're not getting it is because today's society is seeing just the action of very minute people who are not representing Islam and giving the hardworking Muslims that migrated to this country, excuse me, and also the ones who are accepting Islam. Since 9/11, more Americans are accepting Islam in the United States than any other country. Do they say that? Or do they not say that Latinos are the fastest growing individuals that are actually accepting Islam? They're not talking about that. While they speak about our incidents, okay, that don't represent Islam, don't represent who I am as a Muslim, because I'll be very honest with you, if I see somebody or say that's making statements against violence, for violence, that's not an act of a Muslim.
But although what is bothering me that I see again and again when these isolated people do the hated crime, we Muslim for peace. So anybody breaking the peace, we should be against them. And I think our community, our Islamic leader, Muslim leader, not taking enough position on this somehow, and we're getting blaming for that again and again. Don't you think you agree with that? When things happen like last week, when happened with the fellow from New Jersey attacking Lower Manhattan, and that following khutbah, all the imams should bring it to the part of the khutbah and mention it and declare that that person should not represent the Muslim. He is not a part of Muslim community. He cannot be Muslim community. If that person is commit a crime, he has nothing to do with Islam. Please do not level him as a Muslim, because we can draw a line, because there's a lot of act doing by non-Muslim, and he's happened to be a Christian or many other religions. They never level him as a religious identity. When this Nazma Khatun was killed, stabbed last week, and this guy, he's from maybe Latino, and he's a Catholic, they never tell me he's a Catholic terrorist. This guy who shot the two imam, blind black, shot in the back, with the cold-blooded, they refuse to call him as a hate crime, and there's no motive discovered yet, and they're still saying they don't call him, he's a pure terrorist, and they don't call him as a Christian terrorist. So we should, our imam and leaders should stand and disclose, not disclose, should clear the point that this acted violent person is not belong to our community. He is not representing us. If you go last year, I remember there was a big event in White House. President Obama was on his knees, trying so hard to convince American people that how good, hard-working Muslim community here in America, and he gave a lot of statistics that how the contribution in military, in armed force, in professional, in education, and they're raising children in middle class, in economy. This is all good about Muslim, and he produced so much. I just feel like that he was defending a Muslim more than a Muslim, and that at the end he said one thing. That's why I want you to focus on it, and I want you to respond. At the end of his thing, he defended Muslim, and he said, the Muslim community have to do their part. And what is mean by that? That he did his part to defend Muslim community, but Muslim community also do their part means if you have a bad element within ourselves, we have to try to identify it, help it, or also criticize it. If you don't know to protecting it, at least criticizing it. But what we're lacking here, when a bad element coming out from our neighborhood, the whole neighborhood don't get together and criticizing or protesting or ask for peace. They just kind of like quiet and silent.
Okay. So what I'm going to tell you that. Do we have a problem right now in our communities presently that we are not speaking out? Some communities, yes.
We do.
We do. And we're having a majority of them coming from actually communities that actually haven't been here that long in this United States. We're talking about communities within 10 or 15 years. We're talking about communities that, well, you've been here 20 years, or some other people have been here 30 years, that actually understand the value of being a Muslim American, and other communities that actually coming from different ethnic backgrounds don't want to rock the boat. How do we say in here? Don't want to rock the boat. Don't want to be singled out as a person against any action because they don't want to be singled out. You see, this is one thing here. Either you be pro-American or against American. Well, a Muslim is pro-humanity. That's what a Muslim is. A Muslim is pro-humanity. So a Muslim doesn't think about hurting or killing or anything like that. The acts of an individual, a criminal act of an individual who commits a terrorist act, is haram in Islam. It's unlawful. Now, do we have enough imams coming and speaking out? No. You know why? Because the imams here even in this community don't come together. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. They don't come together within their own communities and actually collectively come out and say, you know, we need to speak out on this. Okay, there's instances of assault on us, on Muslims who've been assaulted, and we've seen this, and you know I've been to every rally here in New York City in reference to Muslims being attacked. But at the same time, we have one rally, or two rallies, and then after that, we're comfortable with what happens. These heinous acts that have been committed, how many other Muslims are actually focusing and putting programs within their mosques, within their masjids, actually teaching against these heinous acts? And that's what we do.
So this is now going back to my first question or earlier question that I asked you. This is a clear failing from showing up as the community.
I don't want to say failing. I wouldn't say failing. I would just say this. You see, once you talk about
lacking. Why this lacking of the unity you just mentioned about? Why this lacking of the showing the American spirit, and why the lacking this showing that is? Do I have to be look somehow to be American? Is it possible? As our people, is the Muslim people having some confusion here that if I look like a Muslim, I cannot be American? What is that? How you can get it? Do you think there's a lacking of education here that they're feeling they don't understand that? Oh, if I look like a Muslim, I have a beard, I wear Islamic dress, I'm not American. But the truth is that this is the melting pot. The beauty of the America that you can be look any way you want, you can be talk any way you want, you can have any accent. Like you have an accent, I have an accent. We both have one common thing. We're a proud American. We're Muslim American. We're Puerto Rican American. We're Bangladeshi American. So why are the people not getting it?
people are not getting it because just like every history of this country, and we got to look back at history, you know that when the Irish first came to this country, the Irish, the Jewish, they all were persecuted for being here. This time is the Muslim time. This is how this country actually has been growing. And I'm sorry, but
man, you try to scare. You don't scare our viewer, man.
No,
now,
but this is something. We have to look at the history, and we don't. You know what the thing is? We rather be called Americans, right? But we're not reading the history of what we have either. We have a very rich American history, and everyone has done its part, you know. But we really have to do is work within ourselves, within our own ummah. We have to come together collectively. We have to actually go to the African mosque. I mean, let me honestly tell you, brother. How many African mosques have you gone to when you explain to them that we need to sit down and talk? I do that. I go to them. I go to the Bengali mosque. I go to the Arab mosque. I go to the Macedonian mosque. I go to the Puerto Rican mosque in New Jersey. I go and I express to them that there's a need, a dire need for us to work together. And it's very sad. And I know you want to speak about the parade that we're having on Sunday, but it's very sad to me when I've gone to some mosque and they're like, oh, we don't do parade. You don't do parade. It's not the point of
You just bring to the right point right now. You're just talking about there's no such a one event. We can see that African Muslim and Bangladeshi Muslim, Pakistani Muslim, Chinese Muslim, and Middle Eastern Muslim are marching together or standing together beside the inside the mosques, and that's very sad part of it. So only one platform we have, which is the New York City have an American Muslim Day parade every year in September in Manhattan, in Madison Avenue, from 37th Street to 38th Street to 23rd Street. Is a huge opportunity for us to show the whole world, is a world stage to stand together, show our unity, solidarity, and we clearly failing that. I've been attending the Muslim parade for last 10 years. I found over there is less people than one small tiny event of Bangladeshi community have. There's a lot of Middle Eastern brother, lot of African brother, and there is no unity, there is no solidarity, and this is the poorest parent we're having. Why do you think that's happening, and how can we improve? And can you tell me a little bit about why don't you agree with it? It's very significant for everybody to attend this kind of event as a Muslim to show our unity. Especially what happened in political campaign in last 7 months, 8 months,
Listen,
and what comes to us. Before you go 1 second, it's just I want to touch another thing. Like we're talking about Muslim being classified, Muslim being singled out, coming a lot of things. We don't know what's going to happen to this next election. What kind of level we might have been restricted to place to go unless we really united. Do you think the Muslim community, American Muslim community, realizing that? And why is not getting together? Go ahead.
I was speaking with a sister. Her name is that she's with the African community. She works very hard with it. Her name is Bineta Diop. And when I was speaking to the sister, she was very enthusiastic about getting all the Africans from Senegal to come. She's working on that. And she's got other sisters and brothers from the Gambian community come. We have the Bangladeshi community coming to come. But you know what's sad? Not all the communities want to work together. That's sad.
What is the reason? What is the main reason?
I think this is just, I guess, it's just, to me, I've traveled overseas. I spent 5 years in Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, Pakistan. I spent time overseas, and what I've seen, it's different when you're overseas than it is actually here. Here, Muslims, Americans, when they come here, they have the 9-to-5 job, they have their kids going to school, they're running to the mosque to go pray after Maghrib, from Maghrib to Isha, and they're praying in their jobs. And that pace of life takes a toll. But at the same time, they feel they need to protect their children, their loved ones, their aunts, their uncles, their fathers, their mothers, because people like Donald Trump, people like elected officials that are making all these crazy comments about evicting immigrants and their status is not still as citizens of the United States. They're still either permanent residents or their status is still working visas. And they really don't want to get involved and be singled out. I'm sorry, but that's the facts of how it is. But how can we really do? We need to actually educate. Some of them want to be educated, some of them don't want to be educated. In the aspects of understanding the American civic life. And what I mean by that is understanding the laws, understanding their rights, understanding their American rights. They have to understand these, and they're not doing that. And the masjids are not doing that. I'm sorry, but I'm going to be very honest with you. The masjids
thank you. Although you're making a lot of point, and who's viewer out there who's listening, I want to tell, especially in our New York and American or the Muslim community, this is really with the edge of the thing. We really got to unite it now. We don't know what's coming next. This is the time we have to think about our next generation. We may be Muslim coming from different country. We may call, I'm from Bangladesh, you from Puerto Rico, from Pakistan, but our children are not going to stay there like Bangladeshi Muslim. They're going to just say Muslim America. And we're going to have our only identity Muslim American, and we want to educate everybody ourselves and do this more. And I want all to get united and work on this and educate each other. Welcome back, viewer. Welcome to our show. Millennium TV, Bridging Community Worldwide. I'm hosting today's community affairs. My name is Nazrul Haq. I want to welcome everyone to join these shows from periodically, and I'm looking forward to do the show more often. And as you know, we have a very exciting guest here, Aldo Perez Abdul Rahim. He's a New York Political Coalition president, and we've been talking about Muslim community here in New York and America, Islamophobia. We're talking about the Muslim Day Parade and how we can community get united. What is the future of the Muslim community here, and what is the role of Muslim leaders? We've been talking about a lot of important things, and we're going to get back to the talking again. And I want to ask you, Brother Aldo, Islamophobia has become a very, very popular word in our community these days. There's a lot of talking about it, worldwide actually. And someone asks, I mean, who's to blame? And I know people just name some politician, they name the American presidential campaign. But I want to really ask you, as a Muslim, I'm asking you, I believe on self-criticism. Before I blame anybody, any government, any political party, any election candidate, I also want to look at myself. I say, am I doing the right thing as a Muslim, as an American, as a citizen? My question to you, is it, who is to take all the blame for Islamophobia that's taking place? Is it all blame to others? Or somebody who hate Muslim, or is the Muslim itself have some responsibility? How are you going to define? How are you going to itemize it? This? Okay. What is the cause?
Okay. To have a problem, to be a problem, there has to be two. Okay, a person can't just be one person and one problem. It has to be two to have the problem. Do we have a problem within our ranks? Yes, we have a problem within our ummah. Do we have a problem that we're not addressing topics as we should? Yes, we're not addressing topics as we should. But at the same time, we are not the ones who are actually, the problem that I see is, we see people writing books about Islam, okay? Writing books about the Quran. But guess what? They never studied the Quran. They never they're not Muslims, okay? And number three, they have never practiced our faith, okay? And these people are now considered experts on Islam. And what the problem I see that we're saying between us is that we don't have, within our ranks, well, we have had sheikhs, mullanas, hafiz, qadis, more hafiz, all of them have written books, but guess what? They're not teaching them. They're not teaching these books. That's the problem we have. We have a theological and educational, intellectual imbalance of teaching against this so-called Islamophobia, this called of targeting Muslims, or this so-called people acting out in a way of violence. What we have to do, I'm going to give you for an example. There's a very good book by there's a Rahimullah, there's a man by the name of Sheikh Abdul Wahab. Okay, Sheikh Abdul Wahab wrote a book called Kitab al-Tawhid, the Oneness of Allah. Okay. Because he wrote that book, and he wrote many other books they're excellent books, but because a sect in Saudi has used his books to claim things on superiority of acting on ways of violence, now they say that all his books are wrong. But if Sheikh Abdul Wahab Rahimullah was alive today, he would be fighting them. And this is what we don't have. We have people now who use earlier scholars' books, right, and try to determine that they are, you could just say, I'll say it plainly, Wahhabism, okay? And they say that Wahhabism comes from Sheikh Abdul Wahab. If Sheikh Abdul Wahab Rahimullah was alive today, if people that actually understand his books and understand his writings, and the sheikhs that understand it, they will be fighting against ISIS. They will be fighting against all those other groups. But people are not explaining that. Why? Why isn't that? We have other people explaining our deen, but we ourselves are not explaining our deen.
Like you bring the key word ISIS, good thing. I don't know, people, there's a blame against from American mainstream. There's a Muslim leadership, Muslim sheikh, the imam, are failing to criticize the ISIS. Nobody is leveling them properly that ISIS is not against the representing the Muslim. They are not the right person to in the name of the Islam. Whatever they have, their personal ideology. Do you see that any respected leadership, now I have to go to worldwide, like the Grand Imam from Egypt or Saudi or any other country who's openly criticizing and under the ISIS and saying their
You know what I have
ideology
a
is
problem
wrong?
right now? I have a problem right now that the Saudi government is actually worried more about Iran than they're worried more about actually getting rid of this problem, Abu Bakr al-Iraqi. You know, I think that's a major problem that we have in that region. You want me to be honest with you? You know, that's the honest truth. Worrying about the Ayatollah is not as much danger as actually dealing with this guy, Abu Bakr al-Iraqi. I think also we have to think about other groups that people are not giving attention. They're not giving attention to Hamas. They're not giving attention to Jamaat al-Islamiyah. They're not giving attention to Hezbollah. But they should. They should be giving attention to these people and telling them that what they're doing is not according to the Quran. That what they're doing is haram. And what people are not understanding either is that within their own ranks, they don't want to do it because they don't want to offend anybody. Oh my God, we don't want to be singled out. No. I'm sorry, but I was born here and I'm a Muslim American. I'm going to speak up against any actions of violence.
So don't you think that if anybody in the name of Islam or maybe he have Islamic identification and he is part of an act of a violence, and before even anybody else pointing out him, is as a Muslim, this is our responsibility, our duty to identify that individual who is living surrounding us and identify him and criticize him, isolate him, and put him in a spot and show that he is not representing the Muslim or community. This way, I think that we can play a major role to eliminate the Islamophobia by a lot of this action. We have to be a little bit active. We have to be a little bit active about who's doing what in my name. If somebody out there go out there and use my name and write something or put something in fakely, and moment is going to come to me. Let's say you write something in my name and put it in the newspaper and send a fake letter to somebody. Moment they're going to find out, what I'm going to do, I'm going to protest it. I'm going to say, no, I did not write this letter. It is not my name. Somebody's blackmailing me. Don't you going to do that? Don't you going to do the same?
I think we have to take the example. I'm going to give you an example. In the 1980s, I think if you remember in the 80s, you had a very strong Christian fundamentalism when they were bombing abortion clinics.
Mm-hmm.
And when they were bombing abortion clinics, these individuals were actually claiming this in the right to life and the right for someone not to abort their child. Well, you know, in Islam, we're not for abortion, but what the Christian communities did, and what I think that we should also do is also take, for example, that way that actually the Christian communities came together and denounced every church and every organization that actually supports it. Do we, as Muslim, don't take that initiative very strongly? Yeah, we don't. We don't take that initiative very strong. We should. And the reason why some of them don't do is because of their immigration status. I'm sorry, but people have to understand that if you say something against if you say something against a Muslim, some Muslims might feel, it's not that you're supporting these heinous acts or this individual, but that you're speaking against your own people. Well, I'm sorry. I call an apple an apple.
Look,
if you commit a criminal act and you kill people, and you think by causing massive harm, you're representing Islam, you're 100% wrong.
Look, our leaders have to realize that, and you and I may be saying, and a lot of people maybe they're not gonna make a big impact, but our religious leader, who's holding the religious leader position, they have a major responsibility to rule and tell out there about this country. They have to put in the khutbah what is America, what is the freedom and liberty and justice for all. That should be part of the khutbah if you are a true American. Why? Because I can challenge, I can put out there that all the imams should realize is that the amount of Islam you can practice here in America, you cannot do no other country.
Oh no, that's for sure.
For guarantee. No other. Name me one country what you can do. Not only Islam, in any religious. All the freedom of religions we have it here. So if you saw many other countries, you see Muslim are fighting with Muslim. Even Muslim bombing the Muslim. And there's a lot of conflict between how you practice and everything. Here is the blessing of the country and the reality. How many imam is saying that? That's my problem. And we have to criticize it as a Muslim. And I'm raising these boys here because our leaders need to wake up. And they need to do right thing. Because they're not doing right thing. Imam cannot speak in the khutbah about what happened in 1,000 years ago. You have to speak in khutbah what happened in a week before in Boston.
Well, I disagree with you on this one. I think that he should use Sita stories from the past to use an example of what is happening today.
Okay.
I don't think we should lose the identity of a beautiful series that we have with that, which are very beautiful.
But I'm not talking about to eliminate the whole thing, but you also have to understand that the khutbah, by definition, is a speech.
Yes.
And it have to be about current affair. Okay? There is a part of it as a ceremony, which is the blessing and du'as, but khutbah is not a khutbah unless you include what happened in this week or this month. That's what Prophet Muhammad did. That's what was the practice. This is the message to the people that come to the Friday to know what happened in the Muslim Ummah, and Imam have to give him a message what happened here currently. If he doesn't include anything happened in our community and country, this khutbah is not complete.
But you got to understand too, many of the ummahs here also don't want to get involved in politics, and this is the problem we have.
But actually, the Islam is not without the politics. That's also teaching for Islam.
Islam is politics.
Islam is not without it is a way of life, is a solution of life, and the way of how you run, not only run your life, how you run your family, how you run your country, how you run your government. Everything is a teaching of Islam. So you cannot say that they don't want a part of the politics. It's not complete. So what I'm saying, if the Imam don't include the community here, we're never going to, because people are listening to these religious leaders, and they have to include and correct themselves and get the right message and show that how great this country for. We're here to live. We're Muslim American. We're proud. We salute the flag, we take the passport, and we have a responsibility to this country, and we have to show this. If you do all this, I think a lot of Islamophobia will go away. That's to be our part.
Yeah, but
I cannot just blame the other to do it. Don't hate me, don't hate me, don't hate me. Why I think somebody just gonna hate me? Am I doing something wrong? Maybe not. I don't know. But I have to think about myself. Before I go out, I look at the mirror, right? Mm-hmm. Am I look good? I don't just wake up and go out and then tell you, hey, why you looking sloppy? I have to look at the mirror first. But what is happening now in our community now, we're not looking at ourselves, we're just blaming the others.
So what we have to do is work on a more structured educational format to actually address these issues. And we're trying. We're trying, but
we're going to have more seminars, and all the imam have to build up a coalition, and they need to stand up and speak together. All the leaders, religious leaders. Look, I want to bring a little attention over here. This is a good news as a community, as a Muslim community. We achieved recently with Mayor de Blasio that halal food in the our school for our children. That was an achievement for community activists. No religious leader play a major role on it. Even though we could do this long ago, if you go and learn from the Jewish people how they do their thing, they demand and they get it. They collectively, they say, we need this, even though there is no Jewish teacher in this school, no Jewish student in this school, 5 holidays there.
Well,
because
the thing is that we're not right. I'm going to tell you, for example, Recently, in the past 7 months, the Bangladeshi community has been attacked numerous attacks have been only basically on the Bangladeshi community. Hate crimes that, while they're not classified as hate crimes, they're classified as heinous crimes and violent crimes that have resulted also in deaths. One of the reasons when I went to actually the Blue Room in the City Hall, I asked that we have a discrepancy with the Bangladeshi community. And they said, what discrepancy do we have? And I told them that we have a language barrier. I didn't ask for a Bangladeshi officer. I asked that we have someone that can speak
Bengali.
Bengali. Why? I want to be honest with you. How many Irish cops can speak Bengali? Not one.
No one.
But, you know, the terminology that we use and the wording, we're not doing that. We're not bringing ourselves up. We're not bringing, and we're not also, one thing we're not doing that I disagree with is that we're not actually working ourselves to empower ourselves by actually running in political office. That we're not also getting ourselves involved in actual registering people at a massive rate to vote. Because our elected officials also don't want to speak out publicly in support of our community.
Yeah, this is very important. We not only register, show our strength, we also support our political office runner, because that's what we see other people, other community people there, what they do, they serve their candidate, and they get support from them, and they achieve their goal. And like I said, without even our religious leader, we did achieve the halal food, because we did some good work.
Well, not the halal food yet.
No, sorry. So halal, the holiday. We get the holiday, and that's the next. So the reason we learn from that, we get the holidays, and this was example that it was not come easy. Bloomberg blocked it twice, and we get it finally, and that's just show that eventually, if you continue to try, you can get it. It's a supply and demand situation.
Well,
if you demand something, you're gonna get supply.
I'm going to tell you the statistics I was showing now. By the year 2025, New York City alone would have as many Jews as they have Muslims. So that's telling you that our population is growing. Okay?
Okay, this is a good news. So we have to get again also united for, where we give a gift to our children as a Muslim holidays. We need to give them halal food. That's very important. And this kind of achievement not going to come unless we get all the Muslim united together, and all the issue we talk about it. I wish I would know your feedbacks. I want everybody out there listening to us in your community, please come join in the Muslim Day Parade in this Sunday. Stand shoulder to shoulder, show the unity, solidarity. This is very important. Our identity is a Muslim American, and we have a lot of strength, and we have to show our responsibility, our community, not only community, to this country, and we all here to live and work, and we should be proud as a Muslim American, and it's nothing to be afraid of it, nothing to be worried about it. We have to do our part. I'm sure everything will go in our way. Thank you for watching the show. Thank you all for coming, and all the viewers, until the next time, good night. I hope we're going to see you again soon. Assalamu alaikum.